I ducked my head and stuffed some food in my mouth to avoid responding. Sebastian merely smiled at me as he rested his chin on his palm. The look he gave me was charming, and all the affection he was lavishing on me was overwhelming. I'm sorry, perhaps I'm coming off too strong. Why? Why what, darling? Why are you flirting with me? You don't even know me. He smiled and reached across the table to hold my hand. Do you believe in love at first sight? No. He laughed and nodded. Neither did I, until I saw you. You'll likely think I'm crazy, but I feel an incredibly strong connection with you. I want us to get to know each other. Let me take you out on a date tonight, please. My treat. This is too much Sebastian for a Quinn route, and I feel like we've had... This is probably totally wrong. I feel like we've had equal amounts other characters as we have Quinn in his own route so far. Know what I mean? Date? Dinner? Dancing? A movie? Or perhaps some shopping? I'll be delighted to take you anywhere you like. I don't know. You don't believe me, darling. I'm willing to prove my undying devotion to you, my love. I'll get down on one knee right now and propose. What? I'll admit it's not exactly my dream proposal location. I always imagined I'd do this on a beach at sunrise. Boring. I'm just kidding, that's really nice. I'm just sorry. He stood up from his chair and approached me. When he began to lower himself onto one knee, I gasped and grabbed his arm, standing up and forcing him back up. What are you doing? You're crazy. I'm not going to marry you. I barely know you. He laughed, wrapped his arms around my shoulders and pulled me into a tight hug. I felt his lips against the top of my head. His body was soothingly warm, and he smelled of lavender and coffee. We can fix that if you go out with me tonight. I love you, darling. Please, let me earn my place in your heart. Okay, I'll do it. Just don't try to propose again. Say no. Say no. Niet. That I cannot promise, but I will agree to postpone it for a few days. After the eventful breakfast, I went to school. One of my late afternoon classes was cancelled. Why do classes get cancelled so much in this college? So I was heading back home early before Quinn would return from work. I couldn't believe I'd agreed to a date with that crazy man. I'd panicked when I noticed others watching us curiously. Was love at first sight a real thing? Did he really love me? He seemed nice and kind, and although his affection was overwhelming, I did find myself enjoying it. Still, he was a lot to handle. When I entered the building, I saw a man carrying a long, thin box and standing in front of my door. Hello, can I help you? I live here. Are you Valkii? Yes, that's me. Baggage delivery for you, miss. I signed a paper and the man handed me the box before leaving. I unlocked the apartment and stepped inside, putting the box down on the couch and opening it. I gasped in surprise at the contents. Within the box was a long, sleeveless, dark purple dress, carefully embroidered with careful patterns and lightly adorned with sequins and lace. The neckline was low, but not distastefully so, and the skirt reached the floor but had a slit down from the knee for easier walking. Inside the box were matching shoes and a small envelope. I opened the envelope and read the little letter within. My princess deserves an evening gown as beautiful as her, but this was the best I could do on short notice. I look forward to tonight. I'm sorry, I'm really sick of Sebastian. Like, him just being so prevalent in this route really bothers me. Like, it's like, I feel like my, like the weight, like a weight in my chest pulling down, being like, ugh. I glanced over at the clock. I had a few hours before the date, but I would need a lot of time to get ready if I was wearing something elegant like this. Okay. It makes sense that he fucking appears so much, but I feel like he just appears so much more right now. Is it just that I've been away from him for so long? I just feel like Quinn barely has a place, you know what I mean? I don't know, maybe I'm crazy. Maybe I'm just tired of him, right? But, I don't know. I glanced over at the clock. I didn't know if I've already read this, I can't remember. I had a few hours before the date, but I think I already did. Okay. Casper, get out. I took the box to my room and had a shower, then changed into the gown and shoes, both of which were a perfect fit. I wondered how he guessed my size so well. Like it, Casper? Quinn returned home from work as I was struggling with my makeup. I called him to my bedroom, hoping for his help. Oh, fuck. You look amazing. Thank you. Isn't it crazy? This dress is so beautiful. Where did you get it? And where are you going in that? Oh, right. Sebastian asked me out on a date when we went to breakfast, and then he sent me this to wear. I have no idea where he's taking me. I thought it would be a lot more casual than this. A date? But you barely know him. You said that last night. And it's still true. It was a really weird situation. He told me he fell in love with me at first sight, and he felt a connection to me. That kind of stuff. He threatened to propose to me if I didn't go out with him. Could you help me with my makeup? I rarely use any. You're really going on this date? Well, yes. You don't think I should? I want you to do what makes you happy. If it weren't for the tears in his eyes, I might have believed him. I walked over to him and held his arms. What's going on? Quinn gave me a desperate, disbelieving look. You really don't get it, do you? What? Alright. I'm tired of pretending anyway, so I'll just say it. I want to be your boyfriend. You do? I knew you flirted a lot, but I didn't think you were serious. Yes, I'm serious. If you want to do a poly arrangement, we can talk about that, but I doubt that's your preference, and I don't want to lose you to someone else. I was stunned by his confession and unsure how to respond, so he continued, looking disappointed. I know I'm not much. That guy is tall and handsome and masculine and probably doesn't have my baggage or crazy fucking family. I saw his car outside too, so he must be rich, although if that's true, I have no fucking clue why he'd live here of all places. Honestly, I'm surprised we haven't seen him move next door until now. His competition never had locational advantage until now. That's true. I can understand if you're more attracted to someone like him, so please just hit me with the blunt truth. I noticed as Quinn talked he was scratching his wrist under his sleeve, and suddenly I got very worried and suspicious. I suddenly grabbed his arm and pulled up his sleeve just enough to see a freshly healed cut. Valkii, what the hell? I noticed in the treehouse. I hoped it was just in the past. Did you try to kill yourself last night? What? No, it's nothing like that. He shoved his sleeves back down and crossed his arms over his chest to hide them from me. Then what is it? Why would you hurt yourself like that? Damn it, Valkii, never fucking mind it. I don't know what I was thinking. You could never love someone as fucked up as me. But I do. He turned to leave, but I ran in front of him to block his path to his bedroom. Tell me, I don't understand. Why would you hurt yourself, or why? His words had just registered with me. My mind had been so fixated on his wound that I hadn't realized what he'd said. Oh, why what? Why you would love me. He stared at me, unblinking, confused. After a moment of uncomfortable silence, he sighed and pulled up his sleeves again, showing all the wounds to me. They were more than I realized. Physical pain. It's easier to handle than emotional pain for me. I don't know why. I don't understand it either. It doesn't fix anything. It doesn't help anything. It just numbs me for a moment. Why last night? Because you visited your family. I thought... Please don't make me say it, Valkii. I saw the tears sliding down his cheeks as he looked away from me, again scratching nervously at his wrists. I didn't know why, but something told me it would be better for the both of us if he said it. Tell me. Because he's better than me. He's sexy, manly, clearly rich, all kinds of things I'm not. Of course you'd be attracted to him. Fuck, even I think he's hot. You'd have to be blind not to. And look at me. I'm a blubbery, confused mess of a human. I don't know who or what I am. I don't belong anywhere. The only value I bring to others is a good time, and that's all anyone's ever wanted me for. No one will ever love me. Oh my god, I'm gonna choose the bad option first, just to get it out the way, okay? Quinn, you're my best friend, my only friend. I don't understand why you're so harsh on yourself. You're a wonderful person, but not someone you love. He watched me for a moment, but I was at a loss for words. I cared about Quinn deeply, but I had no romantic feelings for him. I both admired and respected his strength and kindness, but now my heart broke looking at his face. The tears flowed freely, and he did not try to stop or hide them anymore. Have fun on your date. You look beautiful. Sebastian seems like a good man, so I'm sure he'll take care of you. Take care of me? Quinn grabbed my shoulder and gently pushed me out of his way so he could pass. His bedroom door clicked closed just seconds before there was a knock on the front door. I'd completely forgotten about my makeup as I walked to the door in a daze. Sebastian stood on the other side, and when he saw my face, he grew concerned. Darling, what's wrong? Sorry. I guess I sort of had a fight with my roommate. Fight? Did he hurt you? No, nothing like that. I wasn't sure what to do. Leaving felt wrong, but it also seemed Quinn wanted to be alone. Okay, do you want me to cancel our date? I thought about it for a moment, torn about what to do. No, I think I should go. I don't think he wants me around right now, but I didn't do my makeup. Sebastian smiled and placed a finger under my chin, forcing me to look up at him. My love, makeup would only hide your perfection. Grace me with your natural beauty tonight. My heartbeat quickened and I blushed. His constant showering of affection and compliments left me speechless, confused and overwhelmed, but I couldn't deny a part of me craved it. We had an enormous amount of fun together on the date, dining, drinking, and dancing. I hate this. I fucking hate this. I hate this so much. Afterwards, he surprised me with a trip to the jewellery store, where he nearly begged me to choose an engagement ring. When I refused, he bought me a beautiful gold necklace with a ruby heart surrounded by diamonds and refused to tell me about the price. I remembered one of Quinn's earlier comments. If Sebastian was so financially well off, why did he live in our old building in such a bad neighbourhood? Something didn't feel quite right. I decided to ask Quinn his thoughts on it tomorrow. Sebastian was doing everything in his power to sweep me off my feet, and although I was incredibly flattered, this uneasy feeling nagged at me. It was past midnight when I returned home with Sebastian. I heard obnoxiously loud music through my apartment door. Thank you for tonight. I had a lot of fun. As did I. Listen, I remember you mentioning your fight with your roommate. I'd like to offer you to stay in my apartment tonight, in the guest room if you prefer. I promise to be a perfect gentleman, darling. That adoring look in his eyes was hypnotizing at times, but that offer was too much for me to handle. I shook my head. No, thank you. It wasn't a bad fight, really, just a misunderstanding, maybe. I want to talk to him tonight, if he's still awake. I understand. The offer is always on the table, though, darling. Day or night, don't hesitate to knock on my door. That's very generous. May I kiss you goodnight? He chuckled, leaned down and kissed my cheek softly. Next time, perhaps. Good night, my princess. Good night. He grinned and I stood frozen, staring like an idiot as I watched him walk down the hall, unlock his door and step inside. I had to shake my head to restore my senses and open my door with shaky hands. As soon as I walked through the door, I was stunned. Our little apartment was full of a dozen people. A few were dancing in the living room, while others made out on our couch, and another handful were playing drinking games in the kitchen. What the hell? Quinn had never thrown a party here before. That was one of our agreements when we first moved in together. I walked over to a stranger in the kitchen. Do you know where Quinn is? That pervert's in the bedroom, obviously. Pervert? I ignored the comment and walked down the hall, only to pause when I noticed my own bedroom door was wide open. Inside, there were 5 people. Quinn was laying on my bed with 2 other unconscious men, all undressed. Huh? A man sat in the corner using a bong and giggling to himself wearing only briefs. Many types of drug paraphernalia littered my entire room, including exposed needles and small vials of liquid. This is my room. Get the fuck out. The conscious man grumbled something incoherent and unsteadily rose to his feet. He held the wall to stay upright as he trudged out of my room. When he was gone, I walked over to the bed and knelt to shake Quinn's shoulder. Quinn? Quinn! What the hell is this? Wake up! The other 2 men on the bed woke up from my yelling and shaking. One of them looked at me and darted out of the room in a panic. The other complained about being woken up with a headache and left the room more calmly, his hanging freely with no shame. I turned back to Quinn and tried to wake him again. I could clearly see his exposed arms, which had fresh cuts on his forearm along with new injection wounds. Quinn? He was lying face down on the pillows. I grabbed his shoulder and turned him over, surprised by how stiff he felt. Then I slowly realized he wasn't breathing. The only value I bring to others is a good time, and that's all anyone has ever wanted me for. No one will ever love me. Quinn? It's not true, Quinn. His heart wasn't beating. Quinn, no, no, please no. The music still played outside my bedroom, and I faintly heard muttered voices approaching from my growing cries. Quinn, I'm so sorry. This isn't what I wanted. Horrible. Horrible. Fucking horrible. Okay. Let's go to the good one, shall we? That's not true. Yes, it is. I'll never be manly or muscular. I'll never be able to buy you a dress like that. I'll never be anything like him. I don't want you to be, Quinn. None of this is important. I like you because of who you are. You're kind, supportive, respectful, caring. I hadn't realized until now just how much I had grown to like Quinn, and seeing him in this unwarranted despair was painful. But not someone you love. Not true. We both froze at my outburst. I hadn't intended to say that, but now that it was out in the open, I felt a bit relieved. It's not? Quinn, I've never had a normal, healthy relationship, and things are complicated because of my family. I care about you far more than you know, but I'm scared. To my surprise, Quinn leapt forward and wrapped his arms around me, pulling me into a tight hug. He laughed quietly, and there was relief in his voice. I feel the same way, Valkii. Whenever I've offered my heart to anyone, they've crushed it. They used me and mocked me. It's scary being vulnerable. I hugged him back for a moment before separating, and I looked at him in the eyes with a sigh. I understand, but that's not what I'm talking about. Then what? Remember my brother, how close we were. You said he gave you the creeps. Yeah, I remember. What of him? He's the reason I'm scared, Quinn. He's the reason I didn't want to get close to you. My entire family. My last name is Viotto. My family is the Mafia, and my brother is really dangerous. Quinn was stunned for a few long moments of silence. Each second that passed felt like an eternity. You kept your distance to protect me. Yes. Quinn smiled brightly and hugged me again. You didn't care about my clusterfuck of a family, and I don't care about your family either. I want to be with you. If we need to keep it a secret from your family, I'm totally okay with that. I just want to be with you. I don't think you understand. Then we'll talk about it until I do understand, but it won't change my mind, Valkii. I'm in love with you. You're the most wonderful person I've ever known. There was a knock at our front door, and my eyes widened as I remembered the date I was supposed to go on. We moved to the living room, and Quinn looked at me nervously as I walked over and opened the door. Sebastian stepped inside at my gesture, but the bright smile on his face quickly faded when he saw my face. Darling, what's wrong? Are you okay? I'm sorry, but I'm going to cancel our date. Yes, of course, we can reschedule. Did something happen? Do you need anything? No, nothing like that. I'm not going to reschedule. I'm sorry. Quinn and we're going to start dating, so I can't go out with you. I'm sorry for wasting your time, and I'll return the dress. His eyes shifted over to Quinn, who was standing firm with renewed purpose and a happy smile. Then why were you crying, darling? It was just an emotional conversation, that's all. Sebastian looked angry suddenly, and I felt extremely guilty. I had been extremely rude to cancel at the last minute, and I was still wearing this expensive gown. I'm so sorry. I'll have the dress dry cleaned if you want. I only tried it on, so I'm sure you can return it to the store. He sighed, and his face relaxed. Then he plastered on a fake smile. It's not about the dress, darling. Please, keep it. I'm simply disappointed and worried. No one should ever make you cry. His hateful gaze shifted back over to Quinn, and I started to get annoyed. Sebastian, it's none of your business. I'd like you to leave, please. That fake smile returned, but he could not hide the jealousy in his eyes. He reached forward and squeezed my shoulder gently. Of course, darling. I wish you nothing but happiness. Thank you. Sebastian left, and I locked the door behind him. Quinn wrapped his arms around himself with a shiver. Was it just me, or did he look pissed? Well, he did nearly propose to me. Yeah, that's pretty fucking weird, too. And you saw his car outside, right? That thing probably costs more than a house. What the fuck did he move here? The only pro of this place is that it's cheap. I don't know. I wonder if it's all fake. Maybe he bought all this stuff to impress you, but he's secretly in a lot of debt. We both giggled at the absurd idea. If that's true, he's probably crazy. Maybe you just saved me from a bullet. My pleasure, darling. But you do look amazing in that dress. I wish there was a party tonight. I'd take you out just to show you off. Maybe next time? So, does this mean we're official? Are we dating? I smiled softly and nodded. Guess so, but I still feel like I need to tell you a lot of things about myself. If you still want to after that, then we can. Great. Sounds like it'll be a late night. I'll make some tea. Jesus fuck, am I exhausted. Parked my beat-up old clunker of a car in the parking lot beside my apartment and paused to stretch. It had been difficult to focus on work today because Valkii and I had stayed up until nearly dawn talking about her past. I didn't regret a moment of it, even though everything I learned was horrifying. Her childhood was worse than mine. She was a far stronger person than I ever imagined. The fact she escaped with her sanity while remaining a sweet and kind woman was nothing short of miraculous. She must be exhausted too. But fucking hell, her mother and brother were absolute monsters. It was scary to know such evil existed in the world. We agreed to keep our relationship a secret from her family, both for my safety and her peace. I was quite nervous about seeing Brandon again, considering he could just pop out of nowhere at any time. Regardless of it all, I was over the moon with joy. She was easily the best thing that had ever come into my life. Her smile alone brought me such a powerful sense of peace. Years and years of grief, shame, and regret faded into nothingness when she held me. All my sorrow and suffering was now behind me, a relic of the past, forgiven and forgotten. For the first time since before my father died, I truly felt happy and excited for the future. I glanced at myself in the window as I climbed out of the car. I hadn't gotten around to dyeing my hair yet. Valkii said she liked the blonde colour, and I suddenly found myself not hating it anymore. I'm going to make dinner for us. I'd spent all my saved money on Lily's birthday. I wanted to take Valkii on a real first date and have some fun, but I just didn't have the money. I planned to invite her to the next big party, though I wasn't sure if she would enjoy that kind of environment. Also, I dreaded it a little. Valkii was not the kind of girl who'd be comfortable with the sex and drug party scene. I still needed to tell my friends with benefits and dealer that I was stepping away from that lifestyle. I did not expect those conversations to go smoothly, and I didn't want Valkii to see that or be subjected to their commentary, but I had to do it sooner or later. I loved her, and I was happy to leave that old life behind to finally have something real. I reached my apartment door, and in my stupor, I ended up kicking a box sitting in front of it. I picked up the small box and saw my name written on an attached card. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me. Casper mewed from the couch and lazily stretched. I sat down beside him with the box and opened the little card. Dear Quinn, my sincerest apologies for my attitude towards you last night. I must confess my jealousy got the best of me, and I'm certain you noticed. I sincerely only wish for Valkyie's happiness, so please accept this gift as my peace offering. I hope we can all be great friends. Yeah, whatever it is, it's poisoned, it's gonna blast you with poisonous gas, I don't know. I smiled happily at the kind message. I could not fault him for feeling jealous. If Valkii had rejected me and gone out with him instead, I would have been a mess. I would have spent the night drugged out of my mind just to find some peace from my self-loathing. How did I get so lucky? How did this girl just materialize into my life and completely turn it around with just a smile? I sat there, looking over the letter, grinning like an idiot. I laughed at my lovesick self. We haven't even kissed yet, but I can't stop thinking about her. It was such a stark contrast to all my other relationships, which all started out physical and morphed into desperation for love and approval. I'd used sex as a substitute for love and acceptance for most of my life, yet somehow I found myself in love and already dreaming about my future with a beautiful woman I had only hugged. I want to kiss her tonight. It wasn't that I needed something physical. Given her trauma, it would be completely understandable if she were hesitant or even afraid of sex. I didn't mind waiting or working through it at her pace. I wanted to kiss her so she understood that I desired her. She was so filled with insecurities and indecisiveness that I doubted she'd ever be brave enough to take any initiative. I didn't want her to wonder if I was attracted to her or worry about what direction our relationship was headed. Those were things we needed to discuss eventually. But I also selfishly wanted to kiss her. I wanted to see that shy look of surprise and fluster. I wanted to know if she wanted me to kiss her. I wanted to feel her lips against mine. Fuck, Quinn. You're a lost, whipped little puppy dog. Get up and do something about it. I checked the time on my phone. Valkii would be home in an hour. I could make us a romantic dinner with candlelight and music. We could dance. I could find a chance to kiss her and see what came next. I nearly stood and dropped the box onto the floor, having forgotten it was there while I was lost in my daydream. I laughed at myself again as I opened it to see the gift inside. The box contained 6 small gourmet chocolate balls, topped with coconut from a local bakery. I'd had them once before, but they were ridiculously expensive for how little you got. I vaguely remembered Valkii mentioning she hated coconut. Her loss. He would know that. Oh no. It was the perfect gift, not just because I was currently famished, but I had a weakness for chocolates too. I wondered if he knew that, or if it was simply coincidence. I'd have to ask him later. I popped one in my mouth and carried the box with me to the kitchen, then started prepping dinner. I tossed the letter and the container box in the trash. I was hungry enough that a handful of chocolates wouldn't ruin dinner. Quinn texted me that he was making something special for dinner, and I was excited and wondered what it could be. I was also surprised he was willing to cook after we were up all night talking. That experience terrified me. I told him everything about my childhood, things that no one but Brandon and I knew. I told Quinn about my abusive mother, my sexual relationship with my brother, the various hospital visits, the suicide attempt, the reason for my nyctophobia and claustrophobia, and my family's business. I hid nothing, and the entire time he listened quietly, only speaking to encourage me to continue or to comfort me when my emotions took over. By the end, I'd expected him to be horrified or terrified. Terrified, rather. I thought the danger my brother posed would send him running, but he simply smiled gently, held me, and told me he still wanted to be with me. We ended up falling asleep together, but my morning alarm woke us only a few hours later, and we both had to trudge to work. I drank so much cheap coffee that my hands were still a little jittery. As I was walking up to my apartment, Sebastian approached. I paused as I saw him, his expression unusually blank. "Darling, good evening. How are you?" "Pretty tired, honestly." "Yeah, you look at it. Pretty tired, honestly, but I'm good. How about you?" "Oh, I'm good. What are your plans this evening?" "Not much. Quinn and I are having dinner, so I should get going." I gave him a polite nod and stepped past him to head to my apartment, but he called out to me. "My apologies if I made either of you uncomfortable yesterday. I'd been looking forward to our date all evening, and, well, I was quite surprised and disappointed. I really am sorry." He finally smiled at me, then shook his head. "You have nothing to apologize for. I want you to be happy, truly. While I may wish for us to be more, I would still like it if we could be friends. I hope you will do me that honor." "Yeah, that's very sweet of you. I would like to be friends too. Thank you." "No, thank you. If you ever need help, I'm right next door, darling." We said our goodbyes before I stepped inside, shutting the door behind me. My eyes widened as I took in my surroundings. All the rooms except the kitchen were dark, and candles littered the apartment. The dining table was already set with drinks and plates. Soft music played from a small Bluetooth speaker on the table too. "Quinn? This is lovely." I suddenly heard the sound of a breaking plate that fell to the floor. I dropped my bag and rushed into the kitchen. Quinn was on his knees with his back facing me. There was smoke coming from the oven. A plate was broken on the floor with shards littered everywhere. I rushed to Quinn's side. "Quinn? What happened? Are you—" When I saw his face, I froze. His skin was sweaty and pale, and he was shaking. In front of him was a puddle of blood and vomit. His body shook violently as I touched him, and he suddenly vomited again. There was more blood than vomit. "Oh my God. I'll call an ambulance." The second I stood up, Quinn collapsed face down into the mess. I darted to where I dropped my bag, pulled out my cell phone, and dialed the emergency number. As I spoke to the dispatcher, I returned to Quinn. At their instruction, I turned him to his side to help him clear his airway. He wasn't breathing. Blood was dripping from his lips. I frantically looked around for a potential cause of his illness, but saw nothing. There were no drugs, suspicious vials, or signs of anything he had ingested beyond the food he was cooking. I pleaded with the dispatcher and struggled to follow their orders as I grew hysterical. "Quinn? Please, Quinn. What happened? Wake up, please." He didn't move or respond, and my mind raced with possibilities. This couldn't be a coincidence. The night after I told him everything about my family history, he has a violent, unexplainable illness. Was Brandon listening through my phone? Had he planted microphones in the apartment? He said he wouldn't kill anyone I liked again, but I never believed it for a second. Even if he meant it, he was still likely to snap in a rage. Maybe he was testing me. Maybe he saw this as some twisted form of revenge for pushing him away. Maybe he would try and blame it on someone else to prove I wasn't safe outside of home. There were too many possibilities to name, but no matter what scenario I imagined, it all came down to me. I accepted Quinn's affections, revealed all our family secrets to him, and now he was dying in front of me. Quinn wasn't moving. He wasn't breathing. His heart was not beating. This was all my fault. If only I had stayed away from him. Maybe he'd still be alive. If only I hadn't moved in with him. If only I'd stayed at home. If only. If. Alright. Horrible. This is horrible because Quinn's so nice and he just wants love. While all the other endings are like, yeah, you're a horrible person, I don't really care. I mean, I care enough to cry necessarily. Okay, anyway, my cat wants to go out, so I'm going to end it here and I will see you in the next one.